Vision is really important. And at the end, if you're not doing what you love, you're not going to be doing it for long. But it is also really important to cater to what people want. You have to realize who is out there and how to reach them. You also have to realize what they want and give it to them. Without analyzing what your target markets are, you're essentially just like putting yourself out there to who knows. It's not only that you need customers to survive as a coffee business, but it's that what ends up happening is your community invests back in you by showing up every day. And if you're not there for them, they'll know that. You're more likely to serve more coffee to more people if you think about them as specific target markets versus thinking about just people as a whole. Like, I want to serve my community. It's like, no, I've got students, I've got parents, I've got grandparents, I've got people, lots of people.
I mean, when we started 26 years ago, I think we just wanted to be, we wanted everybody to come in. So no, we didn't really have a target audience. I mean, we figured that, you know, everybody needs to enjoy a beverage. And I think today it's a little bit different. We do have more of a target audience. So a lot of times when we have university locations, there's a lot of student organizations that might come in, whereas if it's in a neighborhood, there might be a mom's group or a reading group, something like that. So there's a portion of our menu that appeals to younger kids, middle school, high school, and then all the way up. I'm Lisa B. I'm the CEO of Sweetwaters Group. We've opened 24 franchise locations, and we probably have a little over 80 that are in development. It's hard to explain. It's just, you know, you see something that looks like our store, but we're in a totally different spot, hundreds of miles away. That's very odd. Initially, why people come to us is a lot about the marketing and the branding. The first thing they do is they go on our website and they see all the beautiful pictures. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, and I think that instantaneous feel of who we are comes through in our social media. With the world just getting busier and more stress, I think people tend to want to step back and feel that community piece of it, and we want to be a part of that.
When I first realized, okay, I'm going to do cold brew coffee, then I got really excited. I had this real cute, trendy idea of like packaging and the name and everything. It was a cube that you fit in your fridge, and then the name was gonna be Coffee Cube, like coffee to the 3, you know, so strong, all that stuff. And I thought it was a good idea. I was so excited about it. And then when I met with the marketer, who I met through the Can Do Kitchen, she just sat down, and the first thing she asked is, what's important to you? What are your values? What do you want your brand to say? And then I started talking about like empowerment of women, single moms. And then I told her my idea about the cube and stuff. She's like, girl, no. Whatever you just told me does not match that at all. And so I was crushed for a little bit. And then I was like, wait a minute, she's right. Like, even though it's a cute idea, that's really not, I need to be able to sustain what this brand and message and everything is about. My name is Melisha Polano, and I'm the owner of Mama Lilu Cold Brew. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the coffee industry. I'm just trying to hone in on my niche, and I think part of my niche is like producing a quality coffee, and it's also about storytelling. That's what Mama Lilu does in the coffee industry. That's my niche.
Creating a brand, what I've learned is keep it simple, make it local, and I'm being specific to coffee. So for instance, the Brighton Coffee House and Theater, it is what it is. Now this is not a hip, like college town. It's just small town America, Main Street. So once you create that brand, it's really up to you just to support it with product, service, friendliness. You do all that stuff, and your brand's solid. You can't go to a marketing firm and say, create me a solid brand. You're gonna get a logo and a name and it's not connected. You just gotta connect it. It's about people. So go ahead and get that. Secure your website and all your domains. If you've got a name, secure them before you talk too much. It's very annoying if somebody grabs your name. So get those. So your social media accounts, your website, your licensing, those can all be done prior to anything else, and it doesn't cost that much. You might be out $100 at this point.
Oh, okay. You know, a great example is our second drive-through that opened in Long Island, New York. These guys were just great at creating that social media presence. They had over 1,000 Facebook likes before their cafe opened. And when they actually did open, they had a line outside their door around their building. They did the highest sales in our system, and they did an amazing job. They had to be out in the community talking about their business, talking to their friends, creating excitement, posting things on their Facebook page that were fun and exciting and engaging. So very, very, very important.
So yeah, over here when we first started, we were just roasting coffee in the back, and there was nothing really. There was a table with an espresso machine, and this girl who I hired was really hilarious. She was like social media, like she could just. And so she and I would just make up stories, or we would just anything that happened. One time we covered a water main that broke out in the street. We were like standing out there, and I'm drinking a cup of coffee, and I'm like, I'm over here, the water main broke, and I'm live like put it on. There's a video, and so they picked up the video, which was on our website. And I had a website really early too, and I used to write these blogs, and everything was misspelled and all crazy, but it was really funny. Yeah. And people were like, "Where's your blogs?" You know, they'd read my blogs. Yeah, it really helped. My name is John Roos, and I own Roos Roast Coffee. I really thought what this business was going to be, I thought it was going to be just me roasting coffee and selling it online. Yeah. But it's like, this kind of has taken a life of its own on. The front part out here, it's like a park, you know. We put picnic tables out, people love to sit out there. There's like a little mini apple orchard on the side of the building, and then people come in and they walk in the back and they say hello, and it's a part of their day, it's their thing. I think one of the things that is like spend more money on equipment right away. Sometimes I would really cheap out on our equipment, so we'd be working with some really janky stuff that was breaking all the time. But I mean, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that was good because it was a good way to learn, you know?
This was really low tech and still is low tech. The imperative piece of equipment that I needed, because I wanted my product to be as fresh as possible, is a coffee grinder. So my first piece of equipment was Big Red. Over here is a coffee grinder, and I think it was like $900. So that was a big deal for me. And then the Can Do Kitchen had some equipment, but the one thing I still to this day don't have and would love is a labeler. So I label everything by hand. I was going to buy one, but just other things were more important. So that's kind of, you have to make the decisions on when it comes to equipment.
There are ways to maneuver around purchasing equipment. You can work with a roaster if you're not roasting coffee for yourself. They will also help you buy an espresso machine and a grinder sourcing those things. They will help you with that because most likely they have those relationships with those vendors already, and they could get you a discount if you go through them specifically. You have to serve their product, but it's a small price to pay for someone who's also probably going to service those things for you too. Hopefully you already know a good amount about the people roasting coffee in your area. Reach out to their sales representative and tell them you like their coffee and that you would like to try to use their coffee in your shop. And from there, you'll be able to start a relationship with their sales rep. I do recommend being a multi-roaster though, because there could be a lot of coffee out there you're missing if you just stick with one.
The nice thing is that we are not a new brand. We're 26 years old. So we have some really solid relationships with vendors. So we have a good majority of our vendors that we've worked with for over 20 years. So they really understand our business, and they are a great asset to not only us, but to our franchisees.
I think it's very unique for a cafe to actually roast their own coffee. And I think people just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, you roast your own coffee. That is a huge thing. Like, we started off as a roaster, and I wish I would have gone to more trade shows earlier, because once you start going to the trade shows, you meet more people. And I started doing that about like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Maybe I went to a couple, but then I started going more often. And you really meet more people, and then by meeting more people, now we have a lot of people who want us to buy their coffee. So we have a lot of coffee samples coming in, and it's all just a matter of relationships, you know. It's all about trying to support those people so they can keep bringing you coffee.
When you fill your gas tank up with gas, you don't think about the people who are manning the oil company halfway around the world. But at a coffee shop, there is this place of engagement between the customer and barista where there's a chance to talk about that. There's a chance to see it as a global industry with real people behind it.